Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming today to the second orientation session, or information session, for the summer 2026 Galway program offered here by New England Law Boston in conjunction with the University of Galway in Galway, Ireland. We're excited you could be here. Today, for those of you who are in person, there is pizza here in the back. Please feel to take some now or after. For those who are joining us by Zoom, thank you for being here today. We're very excited about the program. My name is Professor Ben Bolden. I'm the program director. I'll be teaching during the first session of the program. We're talking about how we have two sessions and what happens during each of those. I'm joined here by my colleague Erin O'Sullivan and others from the New England Law team, including Mackenzie Smith, a student who's going to talk about her experience last year when she attended. All right. I know many of you have questions, so please feel free to ask them as we go along. If you have a question at the end, we will be sticking around to answer those as well. All right. So again, we're very excited to have you here. I know some of you have applied already and plan to join us. Some of you are on the fence, but we can answer all the questions that you have. This program is open to all current 1L and 2L students, as well as 3Ls who are graduating in January 2027 here at New England Law Boston and all ABA accredited law schools across the country. The majority of students historically have come from New England Law, but we have a growing number from outside, so you'll get to meet students from across the nation, which is very exciting. Galway is a beautiful city. I was there too many years ago to count, but from what I have heard, it remains as beautiful as it was and is a cultural sort of hub over in Europe, and students have just raved about their experience outside the classroom as well. Mackenzie will talk about her experience exploring Galway, making it over to Dublin, how students have traveled beyond as well. All right, the dates of the program. There are two sessions, both are 3 weeks. You may attend one or both sessions. Session 1 is from June 21st to July 9th. Session 2 is from July 12th through July 30th. You would arrive on the Saturday before the program starts. Sunday's orientation. Classes start on Monday. Classes are held Monday through Thursday. You have a long weekend every weekend, isn't that great? All right, classes are typically held in the morning, ending in the early afternoon. There is some classwork outside of the class, as you can expect, just like in law school, but with that setup, you certainly have time to explore the city, hang out with your friends, and travel beyond as well. All right, each class is a 2-credit class. There are 2 classes offered per session. All right, so you can take 1 class or 2 classes each session, but you can't take more than 3 classes total. So if you're going for both session 1 and session 2, you can't take more than 3 classes total of the 4. Each class is worth 2 credits. Here at New England Law Boston, those credits, they are counted towards the 86 credits you're required to graduate. If you're joining us from beyond New England Law Boston, please check with your school to determine how those credits are counted. All right, we're going to talk a little bit later today about the costs of the program. My colleagues will get to that, as well as the availability of financial aid, if that's something you're interested in. We do provide housing at the University of Galway. It's called Dunlin Village. It is gorgeous. You can go online. You can take a look. You can actually go to YouTube and look as well. I did that because I'm getting really excited. It's where I'm staying as well, and so is Erin. These are 4 to 6 person suites. Every person gets their own individual bedroom, and there is a common area. If you'd like to house particular friends of yours, please let us know. You can email me directly. We do our very best to make that happen. We've had success doing that in the past. Each suite has a full kitchen in which students are allowed to cook and make their own meals. If you prefer to eat out, that is certainly your option. Meals are at your own expense, so you have to decide that based perhaps on budgetary concerns as well, of course. All right, the 2 classes that are offered during the first session, class I'm teaching, called Evidence, Ethics, and AI. As we all know, artificial intelligence is sort of this wrecking ball that is changing all of life, including the law. We're going to talk about, in my class, how various legal systems are responding to AI, particularly in the fields of evidence and ethics. So those are the 2 fields that I know best. In addition to torts, my tort students who are here. And I'm very excited to talk about the future and how we're going to sort of grapple with AI as a legal profession. We're going to focus primarily on the criminal side of things, but we'll also focus on the civil side, both how the U.S. legal system is responding, as well as the European Union and other systems as well. Students will be graded based on a final paper, class participation, and some in-class exercises, getting you on your feet and practicing. All right, I'm going to turn it over in just a minute to Erin to talk a little bit about her class. The second class offered during the first session is called International Human Rights Law. Right, there's a description of it online. It's a fantastic course, been offered for many years by our esteemed colleagues over at the University of Galway. Their bios are online as well. You can read up for it for yourself. A really important, interesting class. In the second session, Erin is going to be teaching a class, International Children's Rights. I won't steal her thunder, let her speak to that. And then the final fourth class is International Humanitarian Law. You can read up on that as well. All right. Each class, I should have mentioned before, is 2 hours in length. All right. So if you're taking one class, that's 2 hours per day. Monday through Thursday, you're in class. You're in 2 classes, 4 hours total that you're in class per day. Monday through Thursday, again, you're ending by early afternoon. All right. You do need to make sure that your passport is valid in order to enter into the country of Ireland, of course, and get back into the U.S. You do not need a separate visa to enter into Ireland if you are a U.S. citizen. If you're not, please check with your respective embassy. All right. If you plan to travel beyond Ireland, various countries do have additional requirements. You want to make sure that you're checking up on that as well. We provided some information online, but please do your due diligence on that. All right. Students are responsible for securing their own flights. All right. The closest airport is Shannon Airport. It's less than an hour from the school. Easy to get to. Mackenzie can talk about her experience in doing that as well. All right. Any questions as I'm talking so far? Okay. Excellent. As many of you know, if you haven't applied yet, the early bird application fee of $100 is good through February 28th. That's a non-refundable application fee. If and when you're accepted into the program, you have 2 weeks to make your next deposit of $500, and the balance of the tuition and housing would be due later in the semester, and my colleagues will speak to that. After February 28th, the application fee goes up to $200, so you might want to think about putting your application in sooner rather than later. We do have caps, so we have a 60 student cap per session. All right, based on application numbers so far, we're already very close to that maximum number for the first session. Students do drop off for various reasons, so I would continue to apply. We have a little more room on the second session, but it does fill up, so we definitely encourage you to apply. And again, you can go to one or the other or to both sessions, okay? All right, I feel like I've been talking forever, so what I'd like to do is turn this over to my colleague, Erin O'Sullivan, and she'll talk next.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin O'Sullivan. I am one of the clinical professors here in the law school. If you have not seen me around Stewart Street, that's because my office is over at Church Street. So you would see me there if you were doing a clinic or want to come say hi, but that's where I am. And as Professor Golden said, I am teaching International Children's Rights class in the second session. I'm really excited about the class and to be able to teach it in beautiful Galway. So my class is going to look at, we're doing a comparative model between various children's rights in the United States, and then looking at countries that have adopted and ratified 1989 Convention of the Child in the UN. So we will be comparing and contrasting those two sets of laws and rights and digging a little bit deeper into certain topics such as education law, child welfare law, disability law, juvenile law, etc. And so it really is kind of a survey class looking at a bunch of different things, and it will be a hybrid lecture and discussion class. So we will, you don't have to listen to me talk for 2 hours every day. You will be engaged in the material, and we'll be doing certain exercises and discussions. So I'm really excited and hope to see some of you here.
Thank you, Erin. Any questions for Erin? Excellent. April, you want to go next?
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is April Giancola, and I'm the director of the Career Services Office. I recognize some of you, so it's great to see you. If anybody has any questions about your job search and how you can integrate going to Galway into still also having a robust summer, please come talk to me or anyone on the team. We know, anecdotally of plenty of students who do both, especially if you only do the one of the sessions and you go for 3 weeks. That's still getting a really good, engaging and rewarding summer job/internship is absolutely possible, especially through the summer fellowship program for anyone who's a 1L, because a lot of our employers are alums, and so they're very familiar with the Galway program, and so they know it as part of like the culture and kind of the what puts Nestle apart and New England Law Boston apart. So if anyone has any questions about that and how to strategize in an interview, in a cover letter, or as you're looking for your job, just let us know.
April, that's very helpful. And I'll just mention for folks, if you're looking ahead here at New England Law Boston, our final exam period ends rather early this year. We're done by May 5th at the latest for all students. And the earliest that we start to do session 1 is June 21st, right? So what that means is you have a large amount of time to do an internship before you go, and then if you're only doing session 1, a good bit of time after you get back as well. And I know multiple students that have sort of done a leapfrog, right, where they start at an employer, goes well, they say we're taking off 3 weeks, and they go back. All right, so that's definitely possible as well. All right. Questions for April? Excellent. Well, I'm going to turn it over now to Mackenzie Smith, a former student of mine, who's going to talk about her experience in Galway.
Sure. So, hi guys, I'm a 2L here. Last year I was lucky enough to go to Galway. I went during the second session. I believe I left on July 4th from here and I came back July 31st, somewhere around there. And it honestly, even though I'm only halfway through school, will probably be the highlight of my law school career. It was so interesting to be able to go to a different country and live there for 3 weeks while also, getting credit for school and learning the law. I also really, really enjoyed getting to know my professors in a smaller classroom. That was really great. I was lucky to have Judge Welch, who teaches here, and a teacher at the University of Galway. So it was really interesting to see her teaching style and how I guess they teach over there, and also how much she knew was very interesting about international human rights law. So besides school, you live in a beautiful, I guess it's their college campus over there, and it's so nice. I think it's pretty much brand new. And like Professor Golden said, it's a suite kind of. It is a suite. So everybody has their each individual rooms, and they lock behind you. So I could only get into my room. You go into the main room, and then you go into your own individual rooms, and it locks behind you. And I got locked out of my room multiple times because I forgot my key, because I didn't put together. But that's super nice, especially if you're not as close to some of the other people living in your dorm as some of the other people. But it was really nice because you each have your own little room, and then you have a nice big common space, and there is cooking stuff like Professor Golden said, which was so nice. A couple of nights we made spaghetti and just stayed in to save money, kind of. And there also is house cleaning, which is also awesome, and was a surprise when I came back and my bed was made. Was really cool, really nice. So everything about the house is just amazing. And it is like a 10-minute walk to your classes, which is really nice. Ireland's weather can be a little bit unpredictable, but when we were there, it was actually a heat wave. So it was a little bit warmer, but it's really nice to go from the dorms to the class every morning and then move right back, or the classes were about halfway to the downtown, so sometimes we just went right to downtown. And downtown Galway is beautiful. It's very, I would say, quaint, and it kind of is like cultural hub, I would say, of Ireland. Everything is very much, I would say, has been the same for a long time. It's very small, like all the buildings there are small. There's a lot of the historical aspects still there, which I really enjoyed. It was so interesting to not just visit there, but to live there for 3 weeks. So there's plenty to do, plenty of historical things to visit, lots of shopping. colada rings, which everyone goes and gets there. We all came home with one. And one other thing is the weekly Friday trip. So whatever session you're in on the Fridays, when you don't have class and you have a long weekend, there are field trips kind of set up for you on Fridays, and I believe they're included.
They are.
Okay, they're included, which was really nice that we didn't have to set it up ourselves. So the first one that we went to was the Cliffs of Moher, which are beautiful, and it's like a day-long trip to get up there, and it was really fun to just be able to do that. You go as a group, like on a coach bus, which was also really fun. It like brings you back to like elementary school. The next one we went to, I'm gonna forget the name. It was like the beautiful castle, and that was really another fun day trip. So that it's really nice to not be forced, but they take you out on these experiences, which was really nice, so that you don't have to like set up anything yourself. And yeah, those were huge experiences. Happy to answer any questions.
Did all 4 of the rooms have to share the same bathroom, or were they like?
No, you each have your own bathroom and shower. So, and I didn't know this. You have towel warmer. I touched it and it was hot, and I was very confused.
That's a better question than mine. But mine, Mackenzie's, were you able to work when you were not there, getting to April's point about being able to do an internship job plus the program?
Yeah, so I had an internship at the Boston Municipal Court in Dorchester, and I started my internship right when we got off of school. So I worked for 4 to 5, well, longer for me because I started in July. So I worked from middle of May to the beginning of July, and then I went back afterwards. And just like to April's point, the judge that I interned for, he went to Suffolk himself, and he had many interns from New England and Suffolk, and many of his interns in the prior years had gone. So it was very easy to, tell him, and he said, he's dealt with it before, but he's very used to it, and he said it's a problem. The main thing I would say is just make sure you communicate that, and especially, I was also able to get the summer fellowship through the school, which was also incredible. But just communicate if you are going to be having an internship and also doing the fellowship, and say, hey, I will be logging my hours for these 3 weeks, or I'll be away. Just being upfront about it just helps any confusion that might come from it.
And did you take 1 or 2 classes during the time you were there?
2. So for my understanding, to get financial aid, you need to take 3 credits. So I did take 2 classes, which was 4 credits, and was able to get financial aid.
And those 4 credits, since they're counting towards your 86 for graduation, are you able to take fewer classes during the school year?
Which has been lovely. I only took 12 credits last semester, and it was super nice to just spread it out, especially, still taking some doctrinals in the fall of 2L. It was really nice to just have 12 credits to focus on, but not worry about catching up or anything.
That explains why you were so active in the class.
Tried.
How was like the workload? Like, did you feel like it was like a regular law school semester, or did it feel more accelerated?
So I would say it's you obviously are still doing work, and you're still learning, and the professors are still want to make sure you're taking something away from it, but they also are aware that you're in a country where you're also trying to sightsee and everything else. So there are readings and there are things that you may have to complete, but it's very doable, and it's not, I would say, as intense as, say, like property. Like, you're not going to be reading word for word, taking down notes. You're going to have to know from the readings and everything, but as long as you participate, it's very, very doable.
Questions for Mackenzie? All right. April, is that you I see down there? Or no,
April.
Jen. Jenny, I think
Do you want me or April?
Jenny, why don't you take the
Okay.
lead on that?
All right, my name is Jenny Aguirre. I'm the Director of Financial Aid. I'm here kind of just giving you a little bit of information on the student accounts information. They're basically the office that will give you your costs, will tell you this is how much your bill is for the duration that you're there. The due date of that bill and that payment is May 18th. One of the things that is important, if you don't have it, we do have information on direct deposit if you want to go that route. Because what happens with your financial aid is that your loans hit your student account 10 days before the term starts. And then you can get refund checks or direct deposit. Direct deposit's just faster. So you can certainly do that. If you need to pick up a check, you can certainly make arrangements with student accounts on that. The costs are all in your packet, so if you have any questions about that, we also do have it with us. But if you're taking both sessions for your tuition and housing, it's $3,730. Is that?
That's just the housing.
That's just the housing session, okay.
And then-
The tuition is $825 per credit. So just in case you, just kind of give you some basic math. But your packet will have this information, and we can certainly help you in the student accounts office on their side and in the financial aid on our side, to give you more information on that and much more detail. Once we have your class information, once we know what classes you're going to be in, we'll be able to get down to the hardcore numbers on that for you.
Thank you. April?
I also share the name of April. I'm the Assistant Director of Financial Aid. You'll find me over on Church Street. We do have an open door policy, so if students have questions at any time after this session, please feel free to stop over, email or call. Once you have, or for those still looking to decide if you can afford to register for the program and need to rely on loans, they are available. Once you have registered and we are notified by the registrar's office, we will put together your cost of attendance, allowance, and loan options, which would include the tuition, housing, for either session 1 or session 2 or both sessions. In that cost of allowance will also include the books, meals, airfare, and miscellaneous expenses. The loans would be through a Graduate Plus loan or a private educational loan. You must register for a minimum of 3 credits to be able to obtain that federal loan. The Graduate Plus and private loans are credit-based. The Graduate Plus is a little bit more lenient than the private loan. For those that already have loans in session, it's the same process. We'll notify you of your aid offer. You'll log into your MyFinAid account and accept the aid, and we'll process that request for you. If you're first-time borrowers, we could get you going with the additional paperwork, such as the FAFSA. The loans will disperse 10 days prior to the program, so any upfront costs, such as your airfare, you will have to come up with that before these loans become available. Otherwise, it's a little tight and those costs may go up. And as Jenny mentioned, we recommend signing up for direct deposit, and we do have some flyers over there that also outline the full cost, which were in the packet on the table over there that break everything out. So, any questions on the financial aid side of things?
The other part, if you are a non-New England law student, for those of you jumping in, you can go to your financial aid office, get what we call a consortium agreement, have that completed on their end, send it over to us in the financial aid office, and we will work with you to get those documents and the information that you need for that.
Thank you.
Just one thing I'll add about housing, as you heard from Mackenzie and I echoed, it's beautiful that we offer. All right, you don't have to take that housing. All right, you can find your own. From what we've been told, you won't find better, but that's your prerogative. All right, if you are planning to secure your own housing, you do need to let us know. The process that I've been told is you're billed for housing, and then that bill is removed once you've notified us and informed us and shown us that you have your own. Okay, so that's certainly something you're able to do. Okay.
Ben,
Question?
can I touch on the
Oh,
housing?
sorry, yeah, please.
Is there a deadline date on that? Because I know for housing, if students log in and then come after a certain date to say, we're going to live off campus, they may still be responsible for a portion that has already been paid. There might be.
I should have mentioned, we're finalizing that, but we are asking you to let us know by the end of this month, so obviously be looking at. Questions? All right, well, thank you all for coming today. Again, there's free pizza if you're here in person. Thanks so much.
Thank you.